Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, Shua Allegra, if you're new to me, I'm the founder of Grace and Hope Consulting, and you can find all about us at graceandhopeconsulting.com. What we do, we empower people to achieve mental and emotional wellness, reach their full potential, and live fulfilling lives. We do that for coaching, counseling, writing, publishing, training. But we're all here to support you be all that you can be. And today I have my friend Ivy again back here. You probably met her before. She is this is her second home. I claiming it, right? she's
Yes,
she's
I love
here.
being here.
She's done a lot of things with me before. She's back here today. We'll talk about something else, something that maybe we have not touched yet together on this platform. So Ivy, you take a minute, just introduce yourself, and then we'll dive right in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ibini Oshibodonyali. Everybody calls me Ivy. I am a licensed mental health professional, licensed marriage and family therapist, and a relationship coach. And I help women feel empowered, find their voice, and learn how to be assertive in their relationships so that they can actually thrive and create a life that they love.
Love it, love it, love it. So, guys, you see why I bring her back all the time? Because she's just awesome. Okay, so today we'll be talking about. Oh, ladies, are you ready? And I hear
Drum
this so
roll.
many. They're not ready, right? Drum roll. We'll be talking about dating. Yes, and not dating. And my son goes, "Oh no, what are you doing in this room? I told you I'm having a meeting."
He's like,
Oh
oh,
no, yeah. And my 9-year-old just like, what did I get myself into? But we want to talk about dating, not the process and how to date and all of that. That's not. This is not a different day, different
yeah,
different stuff. But what we want to talk about is how do you take care of yourself while you are preparing to date, while you're dating, while you're coming out of a dating
mhm,
relationship, and even looking forward to the future. Because both Ivy and I have seen and worked with women who just like us, been where we were and struggling some to find our identity, to know how
yeah,
to set boundaries, and we put up with all kind of crap. Excuse my French,
yes,
but all kind of nonsense because we don't know who we are. And sometimes we get all tangled up on emotions, and we feel like that's the right thing to do, and then you realize months later, oh yeah, feelings are just feelings. Some
yes,
you need your
yes.
brain too to make good decisions. So
You have to be rational in
Ex-
relationships.
Exactly. And then you need support from a relationship coach, from a licensed marriage and family, professional to help you kind of, navigate those, wary waters if you want, because sometimes
Yes,
it can be challenging. So,
yes.
my friend, take it away. So, what if a woman and and guys, you can listen too. This is for
Yes,
you as
please.
well. Please listen because it's both parties needs to be well enough to create a well, a healthy relationship.
Yes,
So
yes.
when someone is thinking of dating,
Mhm.
what are some things you think, okay, work on this for yourself first? Like these are the things that make for a healthy person, then
Yes,
that contributes to a healthy relationship.
yes. I like to take clients back to the past. What types of relationships did you see when you were growing up?
Mm,
What did you like about these relationships? What did you not like about the relationship? Because a lot of us were raised in very dysfunctional environments. And so what we thought was normal and healthy is
mm,
actually very dysfunctional and very unhealthy. So that is important. And we work through that. When you saw these things going on, how did you feel? So even though you felt like, even though you're in your mind, your thoughts said, well, this is normal, all men behave like this, or all women behave like this, or there should be violence, or there should be this, or there should be that. But how did that feel in your body when you saw that happen?
mm,
Your body doesn't lie, your body knows exactly what's going on. Well, I felt scared. I was afraid. I felt disrespected. I felt small. I felt invisible. Okay.
mm,
All of those are red flag words that behavior did not feel good to you and that behavior was not great, right?
mhm,
So
mhm,
then let's start working on the opposite. What will a healthy relationship look like? It's important to know what respect looks like. It's important to know what trust looks like, what loyalty looks like, what having a voice looks like. We
mm,
talk also about the rules and roles within a dating relationship or even in a marriage relationship. What are some of the rules that you would like? And I think then they look at me and they think, wait, so I have a say in this?
and
Yes,
you're
you have
like,
a
whoa,
say
it is
in
you.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, you do have a say in this. because
Mm,
relationships go two ways. You're not looking at a dictatorship here. It's a democracy. Your voice matters, his voice matters. It's very important. And that's why I like how Shu said, and the men can listen too, because a lot of men did not grow up in healthy environments as well. And then
mm.
we talk about what type of man do you think you deserve? I ask this question all the time. Ooh, the answer tells me everything. Some just talk about the bare minimum, a man who provides. And I think that's it. That's the standard. But if that's how you were raised, that you
Sorry,
had no
I'm not
choice,
laughing. I'm not laughing at the person who says that. I'm
right?
laughing at how we as and myself included, like we as women, as young people, even men, we've been raised in environments where we're not certain subjects were not talked about. So
No,
then we
never.
don't know how to set standards. So I laugh, my laugh is like, oh, it's so sad that we have to laugh about it or we'll cry,
Yes, yes,
easily. And then
yes,
we grow up with these things, and then it's not just relationship, romantic one. You see people even at work being dysfunctional, not knowing how to
yes,
communicate because they thought that, whoever had authority over you can just lash out at you whenever they want to, call you name because that's how mom and dad or uncle did it at home. That's what I
yes,
expect.
yes.
No, no, it's sad. It's sad that we don't have that. So anyway, my pet peeve. I'll let you go. You finish, my friend.
you know, and then we talk about, okay, let's do more. Let's expect more, right? If you're only looking for somebody to provide, but you've been providing for yourself this whole time, right? So that means you don't need somebody to provide because that's something that you're capable of doing. So let's talk about your emotional needs. In
Mm,
your wildest dream, even though you don't believe that this exists in real life, in your wildest dream, how would somebody who loves you take care of you? How would they talk to
mm,
you? When you walk into the door, what would they do? Will they smile at you? Will they hold your hand? What would that look like? It's the small things. When you go out to eat dinner or when you cook them food, when they cook you food, what would the response be? So we break through all of the little small interactions and so that
right.
they can start to relearn, what does love look like? What does love
Yes.
mean? Right? And
Yes.
so that is so important. And then we move into the assertiveness piece, how to ask for what you want. Because if you grew up with a lot of aggressiveness around you, you might either learn to be very passive. It's like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want
I,
anyone to be aggressive. Or
mm-hmm.
you learn how to be very aggressive. I will scream and I will shout, or I would, do the
Just
silent
take what I want.
yes, I will do whatever I need. I will cry. I will throw myself on the floor. I'll do whatever I need to do to get what I want because that's what my
Mm.
grandmother used to do. So why
And
not?
it worked for her.
It worked well for her. She always seemed to be happy. She was able to get what she wants. She has 7 kids and she seems just fine. So why can't I do that? But was your grandmother happy? Chances are she was not. Throwing herself on the floor. Happy people don't throw themselves on the floor, right?
Amen to that.
I actually have my clients write down the highs and the lows of relationship. What that means
Mm,
is on the high part, what do you know that you deserve in a relationship? What do
mm,
you deserve? Even if you don't believe it right now, but what do you imagine that a wonderful woman will deserve? And they write it all. I mean, it's like pages and pages and pages. They write that down. What do you not deserve? And what are your deal breakers?
mm-hmm.
You have to have deal breakers. It's very important. Your job is not to be the suffering servant of your relationship. That is not your job. That is not your role. That is not what dating should look like. You deserve happiness. He deserves happiness. You deserve respect, just like he deserves respect. You deserve love. He deserves love. So we go through those things. And if these deal breakers come into play, what will you do about it? And now I'm not saying leave him and do this. I don't tell you what to do with your relationship,
Exactly.
but let's make a plan. If these deal breakers happen, if you ever get hurt, which you will get hurt if you're in a relationship, you will.
That's yeah, yeah.
That's just life. What will you do? How do you actually approach someone and talk to them about your hurt and talk to them about your pain? So it's
Mm,
a lot of learning about communication and learning how to tap into your emotions and not dismissing your emotions. A lot of times as women, we're just taught that our feelings don't matter and you're being dramatic and you're a drama queen and you cry too much and you're asking for too much and you want too much and what is wrong with you? And it's just
mm.
so horrible because our self-esteem is shot.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my. So I'm gonna touch on you ask too much, you want too much. And
Yes.
just this morning, I was scrolling through Instagram and I follow Dr. Flowers. I love his relationship stuff. And then he goes, those of you been told you ask too much. you're demanding too much. And maybe you're just demanding the wrong person. You're asking the right thing to the wrong person. And so it feels too much to them because they cannot give that to you. I'm like, boom,
Yes,
boom.
exactly.
They can nail it right there. So because for the right person, it will not be too much.
It will
It
not
will
be
be
too
in
much.
alignment, right? And back to the whole emotional thing. I think that, like you said, as a society, we men have to be strong. Men, you don't,
Mhm.
pull yourself your bootstraps. Men don't show emotion. Men don't cry. And then women are just so emotional. If you start crying, like, why are you crying like a woman? Why are you crying like
Right.
a girl? Right?
Yes.
And so we create these belief systems in our brains for ourselves, for the next generation, for our grandkids, believing that being showing emotion is a bad thing. No, emotions are not bad. It's how your
No.
body reacts to certain things, and it's what
Yes.
you do with them. And
Yes.
so, and often when we enter this relationship, and these things that I'm passionate about, because it can touch the trauma piece. And when we
Yes.
go into these relationships, and we feel like, oh, because I was told that I cannot show my emotion, I'm going to start holding it in. And
Yeah.
then you bottle up, and then one day you explode, or you just become like somebody's doormat, right?
Yes.
Or sometimes the opposite also happens. It's like, okay, I know that this is not true, so I'm going to start trying to show myself, to talk about my emotions. And
Hmm.
then the other party, male or female, is not ready because they are not, just let's be blunt, maybe not emotionally mature enough to
Yes.
handle that and support you. So then we talk a lot about safety, like he's not hitting me, or she's not hitting me, she
Right.
didn't spit on my face, blah blah blah. She's not yelling at me, so
Yeah.
we're all good. But are you feeling emotionally safe in this relationship?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
we miss that emotional safety component all the time, even
Yes.
with friends. Like if I cannot sit down and talk to you openly and feel like I have to hide something from you, then you are not a close friend, then you're an acquaintance. Let's just
Yes.
be blunt, right? So if
You're
I'm
right.
if I feel like I'm going to be this person and work on, on building something together, then I have to feel emotionally safe to unload. And if they're not able to support me in that, then they're just not ready.
You're right.
They're not ready. And it's okay to say, this is something that I need, that I don't, that you cannot provide. And I'm seeing that, so
Right.
you're not asking too much, sister. You
No.
asking, you need to know what you want. And then, yes, and then be clear on that. And if
Yeah.
if people cannot provide that, it's okay.
It's okay.
They might be the perfect person for someone else.
Yes.
And it's okay to wish them well. And instead
Yes.
of you feeling like you have to change them, and then we stay in these relationships that we're trying to. And I'm not, like we said, we don't tell people what to do. I'm not telling you go there and leave the guy or leave the woman.
Right.
That's not what we're saying here. You figure out what you need to work through. And especially if you're married, this we're talking about dating here. People have not
Yes.
made that commitment to marry yet.
Yes.
So, that's a whole different issue. But I'm saying, like, we put ourselves in situations that where we don't feel emotionally safe. And then we believe, because we, again, maybe there was that chemistry, maybe there were things, a lot of things we had in common. They liked whatever from that we have, and we like what they have. So we start forcing ourselves to try to make it work. And it's like, why is it not working? Like everything else
Mhm.
looks good.
Yes.
Emotional safety is so important in any relationship. So if that piece is not there, please, my friend, like take a step back and like just acknowledge that. Be true to yourself that this is something that maybe the person is not able to provide.
You're
Right.
right. You're right.
So anyway, anything else you want to add before I ask you the next question here?
I want to touch on emotional safety because you're right. Nobody teaches us about emotional safety. We don't know what that means. We only learn about physical safety. Okay, if he's yelling at you, if he's throwing things, if he's spitting on you, if he's hitting you, those types of things. We know that very clear. We know what that looks like, physical abuse. But emotional abuse is not something that we think about or talk about. So when you feel emotionally safe in someone's presence, it means that you can be all of who you are in front of them. That means if I need to cry, I can cry, and I know that they will validate that emotions, they will hold me, they will listen to me, and they will affirm me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I need to be happy, say something wonderful happened, I can call them up, I can visit them, and I can say, oh my goodness, look at this wonderful thing that happened, and they will celebrate with me. If I'm upset, they would not say to me, why are you angry? That shouldn't make you angry. They're not squashing your feelings. They say, tell me more about that. even
Right.
if
Yeah.
even if
But
I was the one who upset you, if
mhm,
I'm emotionally safe, I should say, shoo, okay, I hear what you're saying. What I said yesterday upset you. I'm sorry about that. How would you want me to address you next time, shoo? What is it that you would like?
yes.
See how I'm giving you the space to be who you are.
Yes.
Emotional safety just means they give you the space to be who you are, even if the who that you are is not perfect. because none of us are perfect.
No, no, we're all humans. We're
Yes,
all humans.
exactly.
We have our shortcomings for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. And I think too, with with not being supported emotionally, and because sometimes people just don't know how to do that because they've not been taught.
Yes,
And even for us, those of us who do this work, we had to learn also.
you have to learn.
And a lot of things are very cultural. You and I both come from Africa. We know where nobody talks
There's no
about
emotional
emotions.
safety.
It's like what emotional safety, right? What are even emotions? Like it's like a
Right.
taboo. You tell your relatives like, oh, I'm a therapist. You're what? You make money from that? You feed
You
your
want people
family from
come to
that?
you with their problems?
Yeah,
Why?
really? Like when we people to fix our own problems, what problem? We don't talk about that, right? So
Yes.
there's a whole lot of cultural things that goes into all the things we're talking about here, and we get it. So it's not just like the first time that someone does not support you emotionally, or the first time you're like, oh, the deal breaker, this was my deal breaker, and
Right.
they didn't address it well. That you're like, okay, or I'm
No.
running away.
No.
I'm turning the page. You will
Yes.
look for patterns. Is the person, like you said, the person apologizing, is the
Yes.
person willing to work on it? Because
Yes.
nobody's perfect. You
Nobody.
bring, as we're going to a relationship, we both parties are bringing the whole selves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
Yes.
it's like you probably appreciate the good about them. You might not like the bad thing, but then the ugly stuff really get under your skin. Well, are
Yes.
you going to tolerate that, right? And as a person working on something, there's a thing, and there's some things that never change. And you and I, like you say, nobody's a savior here for anyone. Only God
No.
is. So don't go into a relationship saying, "Oh, I'm going to change that about them," and
Don't
eventually
do
over
that.
time it's going to change. No, what you get right now is what you're agreeing to.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
the what you're getting right now is not, it's not sufficient for you, and you feel like you're just, just checking your spirit. Just something is just not going a while here. Like, I don't feel emotionally safe, or it just we're not meshing. It's okay to, to pull back, re-examine, but also, like I said, give yourself and the person time to process those things. And some people, because we never been taught about talking about stuff, is when something goes the way that we don't expect, we don't even talk about it. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna pull away, and then we're like, okay, what happened here? People ghosting you. So let's talk about that. People ghost you like it, and then sometimes I see with women what happened. Someone goes to them, they're like, stop blaming them. So what did I do wrong?
Right.
They
Mhm.
blocked me all over the social media, and we didn't even talk. I'm not sure what went wrong.
Right.
Okay, sister,
Right.
let's look at this. What
Yeah.
maybe let's reframe that. What's going on with them that they cannot talk about things, be mature enough to discuss stuff, and then and things, in a responsible and adult way, even if we don't agree, right? And it's okay. And so anyway, I can go on and on.
Settling is a big one. I honestly notice that a lot of women will settle because they'll say to me, well, if I don't date him, then I'm never going to get anyone that's better than him. So let me just settle for him. Or they'll say, well, I know I can change him because I'm a good woman. Let me tell you the rule. The rule is,
Sorry, it's my eyes pop out.
yes, this is the rule.
Oh,
Meet a man today, assume that he's going to stay the same for the next 40 years. If in 40 years you're going to feel completely demeaned, irritated, disgusted, annoyed, unseen by this same man, please
unsupported.
because you will never be able to. Men are not toys, they're not pets, they're not, it's not your job to
And
train
women
them.
either,
Human.
right? Vice
And women
versa.
are not pets either. It's not your job to train a woman.
Yeah. Do not make your partner become your project.
No, 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 not at
No,
all.
they're not your
Equal
project.
parties. Remember, both of you are equal. You're equal.
Yes, yes, so true. So when we come, and you and I can talk about this forever, but when people are in a relationship and they're like, oh my goodness, okay, it's going well. I feel emotionally supported. Yes, we
Yes.
have the issue, but we talk through it, we work through it, and we feel more connected afterwards. They admit that they have things to work on, and they're doing it for themselves as well, and we're making progress. And the things that I see in them that maybe are not the best are things that I'm willing to accept because they're not that big of deal, right? And it's not like it's not like some like if it's someone that's not respecting you or whatever, so
Right.
you're accepting them as they are. They're not perfect, and if things going well, and they're like, okay, now I'm wondering if I'm ready for the next step.
Okay.
So for you as a licensed professional marriage and family counselor, like therapist, so when women or and men too, at that point, what are some things that you encourage them to look for, before they make that decision or as they're making that decision? Or maybe the over party, the guy already popped the question and they're like, okay, I need some time to answer here. What are
Right.
some things that you'll be like, okay, then you see these things already, and maybe that should be your red light or your green
Yes.
light.
Yes. 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 For the red light ones, it's all about respect, right? Do you feel respected when you're in his presence? That's very important. And I say feel because sometimes, even though that's the way everybody in your family talks to their wife, or that's the way they talk to their girlfriend, but in your body, does it feel respectful? Does it feel good when he speaks to you? When he is in the wrong, can he come and apologize? Someone who never admits that they're wrong, that is a red flag. That is just a red flag. Another red
Got
flag
it with
is
him. Bye, Felicia.
because we're all wrong sometimes. We're all wrong sometimes. Somebody who always wants to change you. That's a
Mm,
red. You should change this. You should change that. You should change this. You change your hair. You should change your nails. You change your skin. Change this. Change that. Change your
you
attitude.
should
Change.
work on this. You should work on that. Right? It's
Yeah,
like, okay, yeah.
but they never have anything to work on. That is a problem, right?
Mhm,
Somebody who does not want you to succeed in life. Someone who feels like you're their competition. Because I heard this thing all the time where sometimes women will say, "Well, I don't want him to know I make more money than him." Why should
What?
that be a problem?
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
that is a problem for him, then does that mean that you have to now close down your business and not work anymore? That could be problematic for you. So somebody who sees you as their competition is always a red flag, because that's not going to change.
Mm,
Sometimes they might even decide to find ways to drag you down so that you don't keep going up. That's a problem,
mm,
right?
mm,
And of course, I always talk about all the things about talking about the big ticket problems that could happen in the future. If you're going to have kids, how many kids are you going to have? How are you going to raise the kids? Religion, what religion are you going to practice, and how is that going to work, and how do you
mm,
implement that in your daily life? Finances, because if we're looking towards marriage, finances, what are your ideas of money? Are you a saver? Are you a spender? What does that look like? Are you an investor? Are you not an investor? What does that look like
mm,
for
mm.
everybody? Because these are things that you cannot run away from. The rules and the roles in the relationship. What do you think is a woman's role? What do you think is a man's role? And what does that look like? Now, I don't give you the answers to these questions.
Mhm.
As long as both of you are able to agree or at least compromise certain areas, and as long as both of you are willing to listen to one another,
Yeah.
then you'll be fine. You are going to have some persistent problems in your relationship.
Mhm,
That is with
mhm.
dating and that is with marriage. You cannot solve every single problem. But as long as it's not an issue of physical or emotional safety, some problems you're just going to overlook. Like, let's say, I don't know, the classic one, he keeps the toilet seat up.
You're like, seriously, okay. Anything
You
else
know,
that's fine, just the toilet speak, like, sister, right? Pick your battles.
right. Pick your battles. It's all about picking your battles. When you think about this, in a year's time, will this be a problem? When you're on your dying bed, will the toilet seat be the problem that you're thinking about? Probably not. Probably not.
Get a house with two toilets, right? That way he can have his own way. Then
Right.
puts the seat down.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you know that the toilet seat problem is going to be the thing that you're thinking about on your dying bed, then it's not the person for you.
Right, right. And I like how you're saying it. It's like, would this matter 10, 15, 20 years from now, right? It's like those things that, should be red flags or things that you're like, oh, I cannot live with this forever.
Yes.
you know
Yes.
and it would be different for each one of us, and that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up, because we're all different. We're all
Mhm.
going to want and like and dislike different things, and it's
Yeah.
okay to respect ourselves, even to acknowledge that. And
Yes.
even when you're talking about respect, I was thinking about even defining that. What does respect feel like? What is respect? What does it look like? Not just feel like, you're right, I have to feel respected, but what does it look like? Because
Yes.
sometimes, I hear people say, well, I don't, this does not feel right to me, but he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do wrong?
Right.
Well, and then, for example, I'll do a classic example. It's the girl text, or the girl would text a guy, and then something just random, like, how are you doing, the typical stuff,
Yeah.
conversation stuff. And then
Mhm.
there's always this cliffhanger, like, where there's, the conversation never ends because the person's working, or doing something else, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then when the person
Yes.
comes back, they're never like closing the previous conversation. They're just like, oh, hi, how are you? Like, nothing ever happened
Right.
there. And this is like, well, that just
Yes.
bothers me. It's just like, seriously. I was like, well, what about it bothers you? Let's dig deeper here. It's like, well, it's almost like they're not communicating. I said, well, are they not communicating because they're coming back to talking? So I'm trying to get them to, like, really, hit the head here, hit it on the head, what it is about
Yeah.
it. And it's like, well, I don't feel respected when someone doesn't answer my question. I'm like, right. So that was the problem. So when they came back, you should ask that question again. Like, well, you
There
didn't
you go.
finish the conversation. Let's finish
Yes,
that one
yes,
and bring
yes.
it up. Be comfortable enough in your own skin to say, hey, it really bothers me when
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z happen. And then
Yes.
when it happens, it makes me feel not respected. And for them, they're like,
Mhm.
I didn't do anything wrong. We're still
Yeah,
talking. I didn't cheat on you, right? Because
that's
we'll think about the
true.
big things, right? But maybe that's one thing that does not help her feel emotionally safe. If,
Yes,
conversations are never completed, right?
yes,
So
yes,
it might be little tiny things, but to someone else might be a big thing. And
absolutely.
respecting ourselves enough to open up about it, but also respecting the other party enough to address it.
Absolutely.
It's a two-way street here.
Mhm. That
Yeah.
is true. That is absolutely true.
Yeah. So if women or men, are either dating or, in the middle, coming even back from a breakup and trying to work for that, or ready for that blissful marriage life, and, how can you support them and where can they find you?
So you can find me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook at the Zinnia Practice, Zinnia Practice. And you can also find me on my website, thezinniapractice.com. And I love to give tips about relationships. And when I say relationships, I also give tips on family relationships because our upbringing and our environment really does affect the way we view dating and marriage relationships.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. And yeah, as always, I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And to people also, all of you, follow her on Instagram. She does these very cool videos. And if you're following me already on Instagram, I always know most of the time, like if I catch it, I always share on my story because it's just like it's cool stuff. Not just cool, but things are really helpful for all of us. All of us to have meaningful relationship and to work on ourselves so that we can bring our healthy selves into any relationship that we're part of. So thank you for watching, and I will make sure that we include the links to her pages and website so that you can click and follow her as well. I hope this was helpful, and thank you again for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Shu. This was so much fun.
Awesome, as always.